Do you find that when you get your exam score, you are disappointed, you're distraught because the exam score does not equate to the amount of time and effort that you're putting into studying for this exam? If that sounds like you may identify with one or more of these mistakes that I'll be mentioning in this video. So in this video, I'll be touching on 7 mistakes students make while preparing for exams. And not only will I be covering these mistakes, but I'll be also covering how you can avoid them. And you want to watch this to the end because I'll be sharing my secret weapon, what I use, one thing that I use to make sure that I excel on every exam. So let's get right into this video. If you're still watching, you're interested in knowing these 7 mistakes. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Queen, and I'm excited that you are here. And definitely subscribe, hit the bell for more videos just like this. Let's get right into it. Mistake number 1 is guessing what will be on the exam. Take out the guesswork. Ask your professor. They are the ones creating the exam. Ask them what topics will be covered, or what presentations will be covered, and what chapters will be covered. And also ask them about the test format. What format is the test going to be? Is it going to be multiple choice? Will it be short response? Will it be fill in the blank? When you have this idea of what the exam will be like, it prepares your mind, because the way you prepare for a multiple choice test will be different from a short answer. Multiple choice, you know that you can identify certain things, you can be able to work through it. But short answer, you have to really know the material in depth. So having an understanding of what the test format is and what lecture slides are covered will help you in terms of preparing for your exam. Mistake number 2 is cramming the night before the exam. Don't do it. That is a part of the binge and purge mentality. And when you binge on the information, it's going to be purged out of your system. And the thing is that it's going to be in your short-term memory and it's going to leave. But when you have the mentality that studying for your exams begins day 1 of class, then you'll be able to digest the material, you'll be able to process it, and you'll be able to go over it multiple times and have spaced repetition of the information so that the information can go from your short-term memory into your long-term memory. So that when you have that dedicated time to study for your exam, it's more of review and it's more of a time to practice and apply the knowledge that you have. So don't cram. Have the mentality that studying begins day 1 of class. And I'm not going to feed you this, oh, you can just cram and let it go. No, if you want to excel, you want to be a top student, then you have to have that mentality that studying begins day 1 of class. Mistake number 3 is going with the flow when you're studying. You study whenever you want. No, create a plan. Create a plan, dedicate time each day that you're going to study for your exam. And I recommend to study at least 1 week before your exam to dedicate time to study. If you would like a template so that you can create your schedule, I'll link it above so that you can be able to utilize that template to craft out time that you want to study for your exam and exactly what lecture slides you want to cover. Since you have asked your professor about what is going to be covered, you can slot those into the days and then you can cover it as you go along. Mistake number 4 is that students love to focus on memorizing information. Memorize, memorize, memorize. No, cut that out and focus on mastering concepts. Focus on mastering topics. Ensure that you actually understand the information and understanding it in a broader context as well as the finer details. And the reason why I say this is because you might have memorized the information one way, but your professor can test you in a different way. They might ask you a tricky question. And if you don't have a great understanding of the information, you won't be able to apply it when your professor asks you a trickier question. Mistake number 5 is that students love to focus on topics they know very well. I know it's very comfortable. I know that it boosts your confidence because you're like, I know this very well. I know that very well. But when it comes to the exam, you want to ensure that the dedicated time you're studying, you want to focus on information that you don't know too well, because you want to ensure that you maximize the points that you receive. If you know topics very well and you continue to cover them when you are studying, you are literally wasting your time because you already know that information very well. You can always test that information and apply it, but you want to make sure that you're dedicating sufficient time to those weak points, to those topics that you don't know very well, so that you can understand them very well. And it might be uncomfortable at the beginning, but you will see and you will yield the results that you need, because you don't want to get to an exam and say, oh, I wish I covered that topic. I didn't know it very well, but I just wanted to make sure I knew what I know very well. No, focus on those weak areas. Make sure that you understand them better, so that the ones that you already know very well, you'll get those points, and you'll also grab points for the topics that you don't know too well. Make sure you incorporate those topics that you don't know very well, so that you can maximize the amount of points that you get on your exam. Mistake number 6. We all make it as students, pulling an all-nighter the night before the exam. Try as much as you can to avoid this mistake. Make sure you get some sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours. Why? You need sleep so that the information that you have studied can actually be solidified, so that you can actually be able to utilize that information. Because let's say the night before you're studying, then you become so exhausted, you become so fatigued that when you get to the exam, you can't even think straight. But if you sleep well, you'll be refreshed. And maybe the morning of, you can review some of your notes. You can do some of your flashcards. You can test yourself. So truly, truly, truly make sure that you get sleep so that you're refreshed. You can process the information when you get to the exam, and so that you're not fatigued. Sleep is very important. I know we say, oh my goodness, I'll sleep after I take the exam. But no, you need to ensure that you're sleeping so that you can be able to process the information. A lot of things happen when you're sleeping. Your brain is cleaning itself. Your brain is cleaning out all the toxins. It allows you to process your information. It allows the information to go from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. It is so, so important to get some sleep. Okay. Mistake number 7 is you focus on passive learning. So, what does that mean? You're focusing on reading, you're focusing on rewriting notes. Don't get me wrong, these are things that you should have been doing as the weeks have come along. But now, since you are in that dedicated time, you need to focus on practicing, doing practice questions, testing your knowledge. If you are a flashcard person, going through those flashcards and making sure that you space them out so that you can be able to have different time points where you're touching the information. And you might say, I'm rewriting my notes. I'm learning it that way. That's the best way I learn. But let me counter that. When you're rewriting notes, you are familiarizing yourself with the information, but you are not comprehending the information. You might say, oh, yes, I've seen these words multiple times. I've seen this, I'm writing, but it is very, very passive. You're not able to comprehend fully the information when you rewrite it. You're just familiarizing yourself. So it's important to test yourself. It's important to get past exams. It's important to utilize the quizzes, the midterms, depending on what part of the quarter you're in, to prepare for that exam. If your book has questions and your professor says, yes, they're going to be similar to this, then definitely go over those questions that pertain to the topics you're weak in, as well as the topics you have strengths in, because you can always learn more. So these are the mistakes students make. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So my secret tip, the one thing that I do when it comes to preparing for exams, when it comes to preparing for an excellent exam review or what have you, is prayer. Prayer is so key for me. I am of the Christian faith, and prayer is key because I found that every time I've prayed in terms of my exams, in terms of studying, God has truly intervened. You know, the Bible says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open. I have prayed in regards to many of my classes and I have excelled. There are some where I was just like, I am not sure what to do. I'm not sure how to study. And when I prayed, my family prayed for me. Intercessory prayer, right? They prayed for me. I excelled. And it was an interesting thing because when I prayed and when my family prayed for me, I was connected to people that have skills, study skills that I was like, oh, this is how you're supposed to study. Oh, that's why you're excelling. So I was connected to these people. God connected me to these people. So I was able to understand, oh, this is how you can excel in this course with these study habits. So it's important to put whatever you're doing before God. It is so important because He cares. The Bible says in Philippians 4:6, do not be anxious about anything, but by prayer and supplication, make your requests known unto God. Pray more, stress less. When it comes to exams, I have so many testimonies where I would be at church and my friends are studying for the exam. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be studying with this time, but I take that time to worship God. And literally, I always come on top. I always excel. So I will encourage you to definitely, if you know you identify with the Christian faith, to remember not to take prayer, not to take God out of everything you're doing. He cares about everything. He cares about your schooling. He cares about your life. He cares about the little things and the big things. So ensure that you're putting God first in everything that you do. And I would also say that if you'd like me to create a prayer for exam success on this channel, let me know in the comments below. And also join our study family. I study online Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I go live and we study together as a study family. Definitely join me. And if you're new to my channel, definitely subscribe and hit the bell so that you do not miss out on videos just like this. And until next time, God's blessings always. Take care.